Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone tonight. Notice is hereby given of a regular meeting of the District's Board of Directors to be held at 105 Court Road, Port Isabel, Texas, on September 14th, 2022 at the hour of 5:30 p.m. for consideration of the business of the agenda below. This notice is posted at the office of the District on September 9th, 2022 at 11 a.m. in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551041, 551050, not less than 72 hours prior to the time of the said meeting. Present today in the boardroom, we have Dave Botter, Mr. Friedman, Mr. Starkey, and Mr. Donahue. Do we have anyone on Zoom? Enrique? Okay. If I may please get everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Absent, we have Dr. Lalonde. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, again we come to you and ask of you, Lord, to give us a direction to all the decisions we make tonight. Help us in everything that we do. And we also want to thank you for all your blessings, Lord. And we just thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Moving on to item 3, invitation to the audience for public comments.
I have one, the groundbreaking. We had decided the previous meeting, I think you were absent that the 29th
Of September.
groundbreaking. So it's okay, we'll go ahead and and pass the notices around.
Okay, 8 a.m.
At 8 o'clock, yes.
AM?
That was the decision, just at 8 a.m.
Okay.
I think so.
Restaurant owners don't like 8 a.m.
Yeah, I'm not at 8 a.m.
You can make it, that's not.
Okay. Excellent.
It'll be about an hour.
Anyone else? Zoom, anything out there? Board, staff?
Marshall beat Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think that's why Adam's
We
gone.
could probably say that. Dr. Lalonde, I'm sorry about your loss, for the record.
Let's move along to item 4. Consider and discuss for possible approval of the minutes for the regular meeting from August 24th, 2022.
I move that we approve.
Made for approval by Mr. Botter, second by Mr. Donahue. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
They are. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 5, consider and discuss for possible approval of the minutes for the workshop meeting from September 7th, 2022.
Motion approved. Second.
Motion for approval by Mr. Donahue, second by Mr. Starkey. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 6, general manager's report.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, the reservoir levels at today are at 30.2%. So they went up
Last week.
All right.
drastically because of all that rain that we had up at the watershed. So that's good news. We're still gonna leave the phase 3 up for a while because we want to make sure that the customers understand that we need to continue the plan, the drought plan, as much as we can. So we'll bring it up to, let's see what happens by the next meeting, and we might do away with it, or just go to phase 2 by that time, which is up again.
Phase 3, for clarification for my wife, is the one we're currently in right now.
That is correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Anything else?
If anybody else has any questions, let us know, call us. Numbers, the website, and we're there available for any questions.
Thank you, Carlos. Item 7, consider remove from the table the following item tabled at the regular meeting on August 24th, 2022. Consider and discuss for possible approval a resolution to adopt a resolution, to the water conservation and drought contingency for plan for the resolution number 194-08-2022.
I just want to mention that the water conservation and drought management plan was updated, and there's a page up there that needs to be switched, page number 4, or the one that we left up there. We kind of made it more simple to understand on the water availability and usage on page 4.
Item 7. Yes.
Motion removed.
Motion to remove from the table by Mr. Starkey.
Second.
Second by Mr. Donahue. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
They are. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Item 8, Consider and discuss for possible approval a resolution to adopt revisions to the Water Conservation and Drought Contingency Plan for the district, resolution number 194-08-2022. Page has been placed on everyone's packet.
It's been placed in packet. Oh, everyone but mine.
Any comments, questions, discussions, actions?
I move that we approve.
Action for approval by Mr. Butter,
I'll second.
seconded by Mr. Starkey. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Thank you. Motion carries. Item 9, discuss and approve an order calling a board of directors election in the Laguna Madre Water District, establishing a date for the election and designating polling places.
We do need an approval for this one. It gives all the dates of the early voting, the precincts of areas like Port Isabel, South Padre Island, and Laguna Vista areas where there's gonna be the elections held, and we just need board approval for it. There will be one position for place 1 and one position for place 5. And there's 2 candidates on place 5.
Is that my place?
That's correct.
So it's my fault we're running for, we have to pay for this stuff?
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Who pulled the permit? Who pulled it?
I don't know even. I don't even know.
Who pulled the other packet?
Who pulled is previous mayor from Port Isabel, Lanise.
Item 8, approve an order calling board of directors.
I move that we approve the order for the board of directors election.
Approval made by Mr. Butter,
Second.
second by Mr. Starkey. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah. Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 10, Director of Operations report.
We didn't get to hear from you last meeting.
Sorry?
We didn't get to hear from you last meeting, so
No, you
I'm
didn't.
glad we get you again.
You got me today. Mr. Chairman, members of the board. The operations report deals in comparing the service calls and callouts for August of 2021 compared to August of 2022 this year. These calls are a group ID, and they went up from 245 in 2021 to 269 in 2022. And the groups that were mainly affected were the customer service, distribution, and the electrical. These codes, these callouts are further broke down by job codes, which are titled by type of service orders, as labeled there. And the increase and decrease in these jobs mostly affected the water taps, occupant change, work on meter box, informational, electrical, change meters, and work on angle valves. On the collection side, they're also labeled by group codes, by group ID, and the groups that were affected mostly were the collections and electrical, and the type of service orders that were affected were primarily the sewer tab and preventive maintenance, along with the electrical. Those were the ones that changed the most. And then in your pre-treatment and lift station department, the call-outs and service calls decreased by 11. And these were mainly affecting the maintenance and Microsoft, which is the preventive maintenance. And then the other code that was affected were the removal of fog and cleaning the wet wells. And that pretty much concludes the report, unless you have a question.
No, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Robert. Takes us to 11, district engineers report, Charles.
Good evening. So we have the first item on here is just a construction status for the water distribution tax bond. That's all the work going on the island. I guess one thing interrelated to that is the causeway repair. Is it still scheduled for tomorrow or? Okay, so we were doing the scaffolding today. That's why the lane was closed. And so that water line repair is scheduled for tomorrow. And with that in place, we'll be able to open up, get that line on the causeway active again. And then we'll start scheduling those valve replacements in front of Bridgepoint. So that's what's going on to keep our valve repairs, moving again. As it is with the 8-inch water line, saw the street closed from Amberjack towards the north. That's pretty much where the water line install's at right now. And so they're just, going to continue proceeding and starting work there at the entertainment district. So sounds like we're past the peak summer. And so that work is going to be coming through from Amberjack and continuing south towards Muddy Soul. And I guess one of the main issues is we need to, the contractor requested, it makes sense for us to get more flexible in the windows for shutdowns, just because the valves installs need to be moving faster. And there's times where you want to schedule a shutdown and then the conditions present themselves and it just changes up a little bit. So I think we're going to be, I know we're going to be giving more windows rather than just limiting shutdowns to Wednesday and Thursday. It'll be pretty much open to 5 days a week. Or in general, we still want to keep things during normal working hours. We don't want to be doing night work or morning work just because of staffing and availability. But we're going to be opening up more times because there's going to be continual shutdowns as various lines get tied in. So that's the main part of the update for the distribution lines.
Have those businesses been made aware of that?
I suppose, any updates from as far as businesses being aware for the changes in schedules for shutdowns on Lagoon Boulevard?
No. We have that discussion before that. Not preliminary discussion, but we're gonna find it more. And,
They did meet with South Padre Island staff out there, and they kind of agreed to go ahead so they can move forward and expedite and finish the projects faster.
Yeah, because with the drainage work, I think that was maybe what was already going on there at Gardenia was the drainage for the 12-inch line adjustments. And then Amberjack is the 8-inch, but then they're going to have to come back and start tying everything in. Yeah. And so
When you meet with or let people know about the repairs and work coming up, let them know that it is a joint job involving the city of South Padre Island, so that we don't get the black eye and share the responsibility for what's going on.
I do believe on the notification.
It says, but whether they read it or not, in all fairness, that all responsible parties need, so that we're not the ones getting beat up.
Yeah, I'm not as worried about being on the hook as I am just, the interruption to business that affects it.
We'll
But I also don't
notifying-
want to get the blame.
We'll keep notifying them ahead, and if there's any issues, they'll call us. The number's in there. So let us know.
all right, so that's, I guess, any other questions on the water distribution, or we basically know where we're at? All right, and so the next item here is the Long Island Village water and sewer improvements. We're pretty much back to going full steam ahead through North American Development Bank. And so I've been coordinating with Carrie Bergman. She's the financial authority with NADBank. Had her review the request for qualifications. I got her comments back. So we're trying to get this advertised on this Sunday, try to get it awarded, at least rank some firms at our October 26th board meeting, and then just start negotiating with the contract with the most qualified engineering firm after we make that selection on the 26th. And so I think the current financial plan, we're possibly trying to structure a closing or lock in that interest rate, maybe in the January frame. Basically, we're trying to get things prepared to where we make the first statement with next year's tax bond when we implement the new tax rate for Long Island Village. And just with the approval process, we may be able to close maybe 6 months ahead of October and keep this thing moving. But that's the general update for Long Island Village. And I guess, I suppose that concludes the engineer's report, unless there's other questions. Oh, Yeah, I'm good. No, we're done.
Thank you. Let's move along to item 12. Consider and discuss for possible approval of change order number 2 for lift station rehabilitation project number 1 with Moore-Will-LLC.
All right, yeah, this is a change order for the ongoing lift station rehab work. AEP does have new standards compared to what was in the plans. And so we finally resolved those electrical changes. And so all those are in here. We had some quantity adjustments for the completed work with Hickman Road already being in place, the lift station 11 force mains tied in, and at the lift station 25 area, the corridor on 100, there was actually less work installed than what was in the plans, just because we were able to get it done with using less quantities. So between all those adjustments, we are requesting an increase of $43,354.35. And also with just the supply delays, we're requesting additional time, a contract of 267 days. So basically, in terms of a percentage increase, that's a 2.9% increase from the original contract amount. So we're recommending approval for the change order for the additional cost and time.
Questions, comments?
How much again?
Yeah.
43,000. So moved.
Second. Mr. Starkey, second by Mr. Vaughn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? None motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Charles.
Thanks, Charles.
Let's carry along to 13, Director of Finance report.
I'd like to give the board just an update on the changes and investments that we made during the month of August. We had 5 CDs that were set to mature. The expiring CDs, 4 were held by East West Bank and the last with Texas Regional Bank. The expiring CDs had interest rates at 0.12 and 0.13 in terms of 1 year. We did solicitations. We had 2 different maturity dates. We did solicitations on the 18th of August and on the 26th of August. East West offered the better rate by 2 basis points. And so we placed all the CDs with East West Bank. We did 9 months at 321 rate. And then we did a year at 332 rate. So these were very good offers that we got from East West Bank.
Those are, it's a big difference from a year ago.
Absolutely.
What's that?
Is this an action item or just?
No, it's just a discussion.
Thank you. Let's move to 14. Consider and discuss possible approval of the financial reports for June 2022.
Revenues are pretty much as expected, slightly below by 1% due to the water restrictions. On the expenditure side, we're seeing a lot of repairs in water plant and in distribution, increased costs in materials and odor and grease control. It's pretty much all I have for comments.
What's the collections?
Collections is the
$260,000 explanation, I guess. The difference between June 21 and June 22.
That is due to in 21 we purchased a lot of we purchased a dump truck and a backhoe, and that made last year's total expenses look a lot higher. And this year in the expenses in that department are lower.
But that was all budgeted.
Yeah, those were budgeted expenses. Yes. Yes, I'm sorry, that's in this year's budget. I'm getting confused
That's
between
fine.
the budget
Yeah.
process that I'm already looking ahead at next year's budget.
But we're talking about collections, so we're not talking about like collecting, the process of collecting.
No, not debts. We're talking about collecting sewer and
Understood. All
moving
right.
it towards the sewer treatment plants.
Okay, I got it.
I'll move it through.
A motion made for approval by Mr. Goddard,
Second.
second by Mr. Starkey. All those in favor?
Aye.
You are there any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you. 15, thank you, Eddie. 15, discuss and approve the proposed budget for the fiscal year 2022 through 2023. Resolution number 195-09-2022.
So we had a very productive workshop on September 7th. As you know, this is a very challenging environment with rising costs. We're seeing in many areas, including large increases that we saw in chemical costs. But we dove into the details on that workshop, and we came up with a budget that we think works. The board gave us a directive to focus on safety and make sure that we're still having enough funds to continue the projects that we have. We have many ongoing projects right now. So we did that in this budget. We were able to finance 3 new positions. We did 2 operators, an operator in lift station department, an operator in the wastewater department, and a lab technician. We are purchasing a lot of pumps to make sure that we don't have any failures in the lift station departments. After not purchasing any vehicles last year, we're going to purchase 3 this year, and we have a fuel trailer. So we also added back the project that had been cut, which was the advanced reuse wastewater testing project. We were able to put that back into the budget. Now, in order to do that, we are going to need a rate increase and on the utility rates. What we had been planning was at 3%, but in order to accomplish all these things that we need, we're going to need an 8% increase on the utility rates. Effective November.
Is that the
Effective
three,
November.
the 3 should be 4, right?
Yeah.
And so it's 5,
It's going to be 8 total
Of 8.
instead of the 3.
3 and 5.
So that's the 3 plus 5.
Right, we added.
Yeah, we added 5.
That's right.
I'd like to, I think budgets are challenging. They involve a lot of give and take. I compliment you and the staff, departments and heads and everyone involved in this and working with this. And, it's a solid budget, but it's very tight. And it all revolves around the income, obviously.
Yes.
So we have to really stay on top of it. Amendments and adjustments, but it's a big budget. There's a lot of things that we're getting accomplished.
Yes.
So I compliment everyone.
Yes. It was very challenging this year.
Commend the board members that participated in the workshop and the work that was accomplished and the compromises that exist as a result of everyone's efforts. Also, just to be clear, there's 2 proposals that are on the highlights of the minutes of that September 7th meeting. We're referring to proposal number 2, is that correct? Where it outlines the 8% rate increase and also talks about a 5% cost of living adjustment. Is that correct?
No, the cost of living adjustment was lowered. So it was proposed at 5%. It's now 2.5%. 2.5% is what's in here in this budget.
And there was a previous step of 2.5%, correct?
Yes,
So
there's
that's still going to
the
exist plus the 2.5%.
correct.
Okay, so that's where I guess I'm coming up with the thought.
Okay.
Understood.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's quality work, I mean, obviously we want I mean, I enjoy giving everybody everything that they ask for, but, I think the burden of the responsibility that we have collectively is, appropriately representing the community which we serve, but also equally, in my mind, is important for people to do the serving, which is you guys. Do exceptional work. I think we've all grown as a district in this area in the 4 years I've been here, taking care of those that take care of us. And I'd like to continue to see that happen. I know it's not exactly everything we wanted, but I think we're trending in the appropriate direction. And I don't know what the statistics are, but I think we've retained quality personnel as a result of these efforts over the last 4 years. And I believe this board is like-minded in wanting to continue down this path. So again, I just want to reiterate my gratitude to all of you and this district for your thankless job, really. Nobody really thinks of the things you do until the bridge goes out and there's no water to the island, or, the freeze occurs and we learn a bunch of new things. You guys do exceptional in those times, and I just want to say thanks. So good job, Scott, Dr. Luan, I know it's part of this. I think we're ready to move forward.
And part of the water district personnel and staff that work on everything, I want to thank the board for coming to agreement, so hoping the district get better at everything. Mostly keeping employees instead of letting them leave. We with y'all's help, decided to increase their pay rates, and we're keeping them home.
We become a
Stay here until
first-class
they retire.
district with competitive benefits, pay, and I think we've really upped our game.
Yes.
So thanks to the board also. Doing a good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
What we do now? Approve? I'll make a motion to approve.
Second. Approval by Mr. Starkey, seconded by Mr. Donahue. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
They are. Are there any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Let's
you.
move along to item 16. Consider and discuss for possible approval a resolution amending Laguna Monterey Water District rates for water and wastewater. Resolution number 196-09-2022.
So this is the rates increase that's needed to raise the revenue that we need to cover our operating budget. As I said previously, this is instead of the 3% increase that was scheduled. This is the 8% increase that we need.
Move that we approve the new district rates.
Motion for approval made by Mr. Water. Second. Second by Mr. Donahue. Are all those in favor?
Aye.
They are. Are there any opposed? None. Motion does carry. Thank you. Item 17, consider and review expenditures from August 16, 2022 through August 31st, 2022. We have a chance to review them, discuss anything. If not, need acknowledgement. Acknowledged by Mr. Water, acknowledged by Mr. Friedman, acknowledged by Mr. Starkey, and acknowledged by Mr. Donahue. That takes us to item 18, adjournment. Thank you to everyone for being here today.